Good morning, everyone. Hey, bakers out there. This is Thought Leadership Thursday. I am Lynn Carson, the CEO of BAKERpedia. And in these sessions, we dig into leadership and thought leadership that is worth taking notice. Thought leadership that will change the way you work, that will help you supply chain, and will hopefully help you hack your growth. Today on Thought Leadership Thursday, we have Mark Schweiker, the SVP of Corporate Development at Renmatix. Renmatix is the producer of Neurovant, a versatile, clean label, multifunctional food ingredient. It's derived from water-only process. So it's going to be an interesting discussion today, bakers. And it offers Neurovant offers bakers and chefs effective ingredients with natural origins. So let's welcome Mark. Hey, Mark.
Good morning, Dr. Carson.
So, hey, before we start, I have this big question. What does Renmatix really mean?
Sure. Well, it's short for renewable materials. The origins of the company, the mission of our company, the viewpoint of our many employees is that we work hard every day in a collaborative fashion, yet we're mindful of sustainability in all that we do and how we operate, how we make Neurovant, which you've already kindly mentioned. And part of that is going right back to the root of the company, our enterprise. It's short for renewable materials. So in all that we do, for example, we're motivated by the concept and our own success at upcycling. We can take what was food waste, and we're all troubled here in the U.S. by the idea of perhaps 25 to 35% of the food being wasted. Well, that troubles us, and we can help repurpose that. So in that regard, we're all about sustainability and responsible upcycling.
So you use an award-winning process. What is it?
Well, the way to look at Renmatix is what we make. You've talked about Neurovant, which is the commercial name for what we call maple fiber. I know we'll go back to that. There's also how we make it. That's the way to size up Renmatix. And Plantros is the moniker. It uses a remarkable process where, at this point, during our 10-year journey, we've assembled over 150 patents. And relative to Plantros, it's really deploying what's called supercritical water. And it's a very clean way, and we talk about the science of clean food creation. So when we work with a feedstock or a potential ingredient, it's only ever seen water in our process. So the Plantros process, obviously there's an accent on the word plant, and we've managed to make Neurovant from corn, from sugarcane bagasse, and from maple trees, and thus the reference to maple fiber. But Plantros is all about an award-winning process. And as an important aside, just a few years ago, we were probably the smallest company to win the White House Presidential Green Chemistry Honor, which is, and I think this is kind of the seal of good housekeeping, that when it comes to sustainability and the life cycle assessment and the impact of the way we operate, it's constructive with minimal impact on the ecology. And for example, we recycle 80% of our water. But supercritical water has always been a fancy and an interest of those in industrial manufacturing, because of the fact that water, municipal water, is relatively cheap, and rather than use expensive fluids, the idea of only using water. And so using Mother Nature's water, we've perfected the Plantros process. And the supercritical water is often what reaches and suggests what they call the fourth state of matter. Ice, then the liquid of H2O, and then there is the steam of H2O. But we're able to manage and coax a process where we kind of go back and forth from steam and the liquid to create a unique solvent where we reach supercritical conditions. Mm-hmm. And as a result, it helps us make a form of Mother Nature's crystalline cellulose, which has been in the food chain for 75 years. And important as we talk about sustainability and use of clean, natural materials, no additives, no chemicals, only Mother Nature's water, and in this particular case in 2020, using maple trees. That's plantrose.
So that sounds pretty simple to me. Why wasn't this thought of, about and being used previously?
Well, I think it's a matter of fortitude and vision on the part of enterprising leaders who chose 10 years ago to support and back our company in both a vision and financial sense with the necessary capital. For example, John Doerr is our lead director. The former 8-year chairman of Google, and I think he's had a pretty good track record of creating successful companies. He too is motivated by sustainability and reducing the carbon footprint every day in global manufacturing. And so, with his support and the support of others, they saw the beauty and the elegance of the plantrose process. But up to that point, Dr. Carson, some pretty expensive fluids were in the mind's eye, and therefore the operating expense was inherently intimidating. We come along and succeeded using only water, much more affordable, and therefore much more attractive to companies around the world and here in the U.S. that want not just affordable capital expenditures, but affordable operating expenditures. And so we matched water with the supercritical process, and voila, we're now making Noravant and other personal care ingredients, I would add.
I love your story because it is not a classic, example, right? It's a really innovative method to show people that disruption takes money, basically, and brains.
Yes. And a lot of fortitude, and a lot of
the
vision.
right talent.
And I think gumption. And I think, we've managed to produce what is from an environmental standpoint, a very gentle technique. We recycle 80% of our water. It's a very amazing. Quiet operation. Yeah. And so to speak, it's a matter of liberating what we see are the Mother Nature's unique products, the wholesome wonders of plant life, which, as you know, is not just the rage, it's a massive movement that is now dominating in everyday life.
It's huge because I know what it takes to extract fibers out of a lot of plant-based products, and it's not exactly good for the environment, especially when it comes to chemicals that are used for extraction for fibers. Why I'm so excited about your technology is I think Renmatix has really simplified the extraction, and really created an interesting product on top of that, right? I mean, you can always create a mediocre product and just focus on the process, right? But Noravant is actually a very interesting product that you produce that I have actually used to replace eggs in a typical muffin formulation. Can you share a little bit more about what your vision is for Noravant?
Well, we're motivated by at least what we hear from vast number of consumers, certainly those in the world of food science, whether they're in the R&D realm to the commercial side to procurement, that everyday shoppers are saying, give me cleaner labels, give me formulations where I can quite literally pronounce what is going into a baked good or to a meat alternative or to a dairy product. And so I'd like to think that we have stood up in a company fashion and said, we hear you. And so Noravant, and it's taken a number of years, is that nourishing, clean label food ingredient, as we've already discussed, derived only from a water-only process. And it offers food makers, whether they're in the industrial setting or in one of those cute storefront bakeries, where it's so important that they use natural ingredients. It offers an effective replacement for eggs and oils, and importantly, those chemically modified food ingredients that consumers wish to see eliminated.
So consumers can just label it as maple fiber, is that correct?
Yes, in a technical sense, from the GRAS process standpoint of the FDA, it is referred to as maple fiber. In a commercial sense, we call it Noravant, which is also a play on words, nourishing and advantages. Thus and that's the derivation of Noravant itself. But yeah, it's as you've somewhat raised, as we talk about what we make, we opened our discussion with how we make it through Plantros. On the side of the house, as to how we make it, yeah, it is a single ingredient, multi-purpose and multifunctional, and it's a freshness extender. It has a very strong humectancy profile, an egg replacer, and it's allergen free. Vegan niche bakers love it. And again, all natural components, not synthetically created. This is Mother Nature's handiwork. We've just managed in a commercial sense to extract and package it for use across the world in food ingredients.
I am a fan of this product. I'm not ashamed to say that. But what I feel about products is it will only go so far if you get an average team. But if you get a team that is dynamic and that works well together, this product is going to explode. And that's what I see of your company and your product. So Mark, let's talk about you and your team. Let's talk specifically about you. You are an accomplished executive and a former government leader. What makes you passionate about Renmatix?
Well, I think certainly our leadership often uses the phrase doing well by doing good. And certainly in a commercial sense, we wish to do well, and we've got a real good year underway. But it's also, we do have a preoccupation with, the social environmental role that we play. And thus, the remark doing well by doing good. So the kind of folks who help us guide the company, they have what I believe are typical biographies that you see in the food industry, deep backgrounds in food science and technology development. But above all, the soft skills of being able to work together, accenting teamwork, the emphasis on collaborative interplay. I think our headquarters and technical center has a unique look, which encourages this kind of interaction that I just described. So, everyday work at Renmatix is exciting because of the not just the challenge of offering plant-based, clean label solutions. We're having fun because we're changing the way those in the food industry acquire and produce a finished good, whether it's in soups or sauces or dairy or meats or baked goods. And for example, I can remember being in one of the niche bakeries, and a mother was shopping and had her 10-year-old daughter there who really had, because of some gut health problems, was really concerned about what she would ingest because of a gluten sensitivity. Remember, we're gluten-free inherently.
Yep.
And when I saw that young girl nibble on that brownie, she absolutely loved it. It was an egg-free brownie. And if I could, we can't do it on the screen right now, but if we could put her smile and her look of complete satisfaction on the screen, for us here at Renmatix, it was a confirmation that we were going in the right direction, that we can speak to all consumers, and by virtue of that smile and that indication of it being appetizing and satisfying. So for us, as the world considers plant-based options and clean food eating, we think we're part of the solution, whether it's that young lady to the big CPG companies out there.
That's amazing, because I really believe you have a product that's going to do that, and I don't usually say it, but I really believe in the plant-chose process. I was just really just mind-boggling to me that someone hasn't done this before, right?
Well,
and to actually bring this to market and make it happen. So I think you are also a part of the reason why we're seeing this in the market. What have you done in the governmental sector that makes you so important in bringing this product to market?
Well, I think that and as my wife often suggests, that's my prior life. I'm now completely.
I want to know about your prior life.
Yeah. Well, I had the good fortune and honor to serve as governor and lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania,
Awesome.
a big ag state. To this day, one of the bigger agricultural production environments in the U.S. compared to the other 49 states. Certainly a big dairy force. So one doesn't engage in public life and then leave that public life to go back to commercial life. I'm trained in business with a commercial background without bringing those lessons. And there's an area of Pennsylvania often referred to as the snack food capital of the world, relative to what we do with potatoes and other foodstuffs and other feedstocks. So I can remember spending time on one of my tours, and this was a day and age in the early 2000s where the idea of vegetarian existed. Flexitarian was a term that wasn't even in the dictionary yet. But I remember spending time with a real smart food science person, and she talked about the plant-based eating, mm-hmm. and how they could take vegetable stalks, residues, and turning it into healthy chips in that snack food world. So their vision was not to throw anything away, but to repurpose it, to use 100%, and through upcycling, offer what would be an appetizing option for Americans, and for that matter, folks around the world. And in my world, it was a memorable moment. And so along comes Renmatix, later that decade, and smart people like Mike Hamilton, our CEO, and John Doerr, who often has talked about, as I've said already, doing well by doing good. And I thought, well, professional life can be tremendously fun and demanding and satisfying when you can pursue both. And that is what has been afforded me here at Renmatix. So, and I also think there's a values centric kind of employee that we bring to this work. We take this role seriously every day of creating appealing, source food ingredients, so that, again, that young girl who had to watch what she would ingest because of a gut health problem, able to enjoy an appetizing brownie. And at the same time, I don't want to, the crave factor is enhanced by Nurofen, depending on the actual baked good. So I think we're getting to change outlooks, change attitudes and offer a tasty, natural alternative in the world of food options. And that's fun and that's rewarding.
That's awesome, because not too many people find so much passion in the work that they do, right? So
well,
I really envy what you do right now. So before we end, can you please share your leadership style? How do you lead your team, and maybe a few tips for the rest of us? What is the best leadership tips that you have?
Well, thank you. I'm not sure that I'm able to offer provocative insights, but I'll do my best. I think I could boil it down to, I try to hire folks that are smarter than me, and certainly we've got our lion's share of those folks here. One of our young food scientists, Dr. Danilo Cantero, is at one point MIT had him as one of the smartest under 35 scientists in their orbit, and I thought that was quite an element in one's biography. But it kind of personifies the caliber of people that we hire: talented, insightful, and of course have to be motivated by the science of clean food creation. So I think hiring folks who really have depth and not just technical command. They have they're motivated by the idea that we want to honor the consumer, we want to honor our many company relationships, and we want to do our best on an everyday basis. And I think take a look at one of the slogans here at the company is Renmatix, scientific by nature, because we want to work with Mother Nature and use some of the food science principles that we've already discussed here today in this discussion. So I think hiring folks that are dedicated, soft skills, I think, are tremendously important, Dr. Carson. And what I mean by that is, the ability to constructively interact and share. Mm-hmm. I think certainly as the CEO of BAKERpedia, you can offer chapter and verse about how innovation is one step, but to inspire creativity, they've got to know that Dr. Carson is encouraging them to do their best. And you can go on some scientific forays here and there, because I want to see you unbridled doing your intellectual best. We try to accent the same behaviors here. And then I'll add into that, welcome to have folks come by, but I think our HQ and technical center, I think one of the most advanced in the world of biomaterials, that just at our at the desk there are the environment that we offer, the architecture that we offer is open. Doors are not closed. They are glass-walled offices if the doors are closed at all. And there is a sitting area at each desk with a pad on top of it. Because those impromptu meetings, those impromptu exchanges undergird scientific discovery and accelerating discovery. We often say that speed to market is undergirded by speed to decision-making. And speed to decision-making is really, and creativity is undergirded by those frequent interactions, those spontaneous moments where try this, try that, and a meeting of the mind, so to speak. And it's all done organically, so to speak. And while for the moment I was talking about a sitting pad and a cushion next to a desk, you know, we have 100 of those chance meetings each day. And we think that translates to speed to market and ultimately the kinds of food ingredient solutions that we discussed here today.
That's amazing. I really love that. And I really love that advice. And although this thought leadership was meant for bakers, I actually walk away from this interviews with so much more thoughts, you know, because of people like you. So, and those thoughts really helped me in running my company. So thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your passion and your leadership and your thought leadership.
Thanks, Dr. Carson. All the best.
Thank you.